I want to go back to your early days when you first realized that you wanted to start your own business. Like so many of the guests we feature here on Cornell Tech at Bloomberg, you had this entrepreneurial inkling, but you didn't know that that was a career option. You had a lawn mowing business. You also delivered papers when you were growing up. What was the moment that you realized that you could become an entrepreneur?
You know, I would say this was really the last semester at Cornell. Steve Conine and I took the only entrepreneurship course that existed at Cornell at the time. Today, there's over 300. And we had to write a business plan as the class project. We ended up starting our business right out of that. And we decided to give it the summer, when we decided to give it a year, and it kept going, and it was successful. And so I was aware that entrepreneurship was a thing. You know, my grandfather was an entrepreneur, but I never realized it was something one could pursue just right out of college. And so that took me by surprise.
Okay, now before Wayfair became Wayfair, it was actually called CSN Stores, and it was really a network of different e-commerce websites. You guys launched this website initially in August of 2002. It was racksandstands.com, which sold speaker stands and TV stands. And by December of that year, it had about $250,000 in sales. Explain how you found your first customers at a time when it was still very early days for online marketing.
Yeah, so I think one of the things that allowed us to be successful is that we had the service mentality you need to have as a retailer, but we also had the technology and quantitative skills to basically make sure that the website was very functional, well designed, easy to navigate, easy for someone to navigate a large selection. But frankly, the other thing that mattered was that this was the early days of some of the forms of online advertising that we take for granted today. And so Google paid search, which at the time was called Google AdWords, and there was a competitor product on Yahoo called Overture. Those let you advertise against keywords, and you could track the traffic that came in. And so what we did is we basically would bid to get the traffic, and we could measure exactly what it was worth to us. And so where we would increase the bids or lower the bids, and that type of quantitative marketing, this was the early days of it, but that's effectively for the first number of years, that was sort of the vehicle by which we built the business in terms of how we would get folks to visit the website.
What was the rationale behind deciding to consolidate the brand? Was there a specific moment?
Yeah, so starting in 2008, we had found that, hey, one of the large opportunities is that our customers are filling out surveys after buying from us, telling us that they really were very happy with us. They thought our service was excellent. That they would shop with us again. Now, the problem is they obviously didn't need a bar stool again, or they didn't need a faucet again anytime soon. So the question we asked is, well, are you aware that we have 250 other websites? And 70% said no. So what we did over a year and a half is we really tried to get a lot better at our email marketing and our other messaging to really explain, hey, we have these 250 other websites. And so if you really had a great experience with us for bar stools, you would for lighting, or you would for area rugs. And what we found through that is over the year and a half, we were able to double our repeat customer rate. And so we found that for customers who were paying attention, we could really get them to come back more and more often. They were making a lot of home goods purchases. The problem was that 70% that said they had not heard of us, a year and a half later, when we ran that same survey and we continued to run it, 70% continued to not be aware of us. And so what we really found was that if you really want everyone to know what you're doing, you really need to build a brand that people will find memorable and easy to understand. And that's what led us down the road of saying, hey, if we want to do this, we need to build a brand. And that ultimately, a year later, led to launching Wayfair.